Are you a middle school teacher looking for a first week of school activity or lesson or even unit? Please continue watching. Hi there, I'm Janelle Lawrence and I am in my 10th year of teaching middle school social studies. In the 10 years of teaching, I've come up with different ideas for the first week of school. However, the one that I really like is this one. It's a mini unit, it's a 5-day mini unit that I do with my middle schoolers. Now, if you're a teacher and you don't have 5 days, you can do 4, you can do 3, but you can do as many lessons as you want out of the packet, but there's 5 lessons in there for you to choose from. Because this is specifically for 6th graders, I like to do all 5, but when I taught 7th grade and I used a 7th grade set, I only did 4. And then this year, I'm going to also be teaching 8th grade, so I have to look and see if how many days I'm going to dedicate to the first week of school. But I'm going to go over these lessons just to let you see if it's worth it and if this is something you would like to incorporate in your lessons. For this mini unit, I'll drop a link to it in the description if you can get it, or you can just continue listening just for ideas and you can create your own mini unit. As I was saying, there are 5 lessons in this, so that means there are 5 lesson plans, 5 slides, and 5 sets of text and questions for the students. Everything that you need if you wanted to teach this lesson. All my lessons are standard based, so before we go on, I want to go over the standards that you will encounter in this mini unit. So this mini unit can be used in any subject. I do teach social studies, so the standards I chose are social study standards. Let me correct it. These are next generation standards, so they're just literacy standards. But as a teacher, there's the next generation literacy standards for social studies versus the one for reading and writing for yearly. So I just chose that one, but the standard is about the same anywhere. So R9 is about analyzing 2 or more texts, address similar themes or topics in order to build knowledge or to compare the approach the authors take. Now, this is the first week of school, so I do not have the students reading 2 or more texts a day. I just want to ease them into the rigor. What I do have, though, is that students are working in pairs. One student will read one text, another student will read the next text, and then they will share their ideas. This is called difference of experience, and this takes us into the next literacy standard. The next literacy standard is actually a speaking and listening standard, and it's R1. Engage effectively in a range of collaborative discussion with diverse partners on grade level topics, texts, and issues, building on others' ideas and expressing their own clearly. So those are the standards. All right. I will walk you through the entire lesson, but I feel like just looking at lesson plans can be boring. I think it's easier for me to explain what you'll do through the slides. But these lesson plans are editable, so if you want and if you were to get it, you just, again, the link is in the description. You can get it and you can edit it for your own liking. But in it, it comes with the standards, obviously, the essential questions, learning target, objective, all the materials you'll need, vocabulary, and then the different activities. It has the entrance. I know sometimes when people buy stuff, it just comes with maybe your activity is the entire lesson. So it has the entrance activity, the mini lesson / guided practice, the independent work. I even encourage collaborative work in that first week, just to have students go into the week knowing that collaboration is a big deal in our school. And then we have the exit activity. All right, so this is how it looks. When you open the slides, it comes with the first week of school, and it's intentionally left blank on the bottom if you want to put your own essential question. But the essential question that comes with the mini units is, how can we learn from someone else's experience by listening, reading, and sharing perspective? I think I went over that already. So the focus question for the first lesson is, what can we learn about the first day of school by listening and sharing perspective? And then the learning target is, I can use the difference of experience strategy to learn from someone else's experience by reading, listening, and sharing ideas with a partner. Now, this is going to be the first week of school, and this will be the first lesson students see. So there is an mood meter where you can start judging how students are feeling at this point. It's a new day, it's a new school. They might not know each other, especially if your school is a 6th to 8th grade like mine's instead of a 1st to 6th. Like, they might not know each other, etc. So it's good to get this little mood meter. One thing I do is I have a little mood meter on my tables where the kids can just put their finger on it. They don't want to share out where they are in the mood meters, not to put them on the spot like the first time I ever meet them. And then we go into our entry activity. The entry activity is something just to lighten the mood and have students understand that in this class, we're going to be learning, yes, but there's going to be areas for fun. So we're going to do a would you rather and have students do this. I think the way I did it with my class is would you rather, and then if they chose the stuff on the left, they stood up. If they like the stuff on the right, they sat down. Another way you can do it is you can have them go from one area of the classroom to the next. And that will also encourage them to like loosen up and feel comfortable in interacting with their classmates. So it says, would you rather sing every time you speak or dance every time you walk? And it's a number of them. You could you don't have to do all of it. The first time I did it, I didn't do all of it, but because the kids were so engaged and we got through the lessons so fast, the next time I think I would do all of the would you rathers because they actually like them. But you can hide them as you want. After the entry activity, students then continue by sharing. At the entry activity, I introduced the idea of difference of experiences, and that's the mini unit for today where we explain what a difference of experience activity is. For those who don't know, a difference of experience activity could be some students went on a field trip to the Museum of Natural History, while others went to the Native American field museum. And they each had a task. They wrote down what they saw, and then they come back together and they partner up. AB, one who went there, one who went there, and they speak and share about the different experiences. You can do it with reading a book. One person read this text while that a person read that other text, and then they share their experience. What did they learn different, or a page or such on. In this case, just after explaining what a difference of experience activity is, then I do a kind of a, let's say, a guided practice. And it is written in steps. So step one, pair up. For me, I normally have my students given their pairs already. On the table, it has A, B. Like I have the chairs in fours, and then A, B, A, B. And like the A and A's might talk to each other. The B's might talk to each other. I might do A, B, A, B. But the pairs are set up. But if you want to encourage students to go around and meet others, you can have them pair up. Step two, share one of your favorite summer memories. And then step three, share what you learned from your partner. So it encourages students to listen to each other so that they can share back. And this is just the practice, because the actual activity is I give one set of students an article called Lost, Nervous, and Figuring It Out the First Day of Sixth Grade. And this is an article written from a sixth grader's perspective of the first day and how they felt, while another set of students will be reading the teacher's perspective. Teachers get nervous too. What's the first day feels like for me? This activity, again, encourages students to talk to each other, but it also encourages a little bit of empathy where they can relate because they're sixth graders and they might feel this kind of nervousness, this kind of anxiety. Well, and then they also get to see how the teacher feels in that situation. It makes them understand like, yo, teachers are humans too. They also feel nervous. They also make these mistakes or have these feelings. So they get to read that for a while. The exact timing for this is in the lesson plan. So if you look at the lesson plan, it says, I think I'm going by memory, is either 10 or 15 minutes they have just to read. And as they read, they take notes. So I'll show you the worksheets and the reading in a little bit, but they take notes. These are the 5 questions they're going to be answering as they read it. And it looks like a lot, but again, I did it with my students. They get through it really quick. It is really like right there questions. And then we stop and we have the collaborative portion where partner A summarizes their article. They share the answers to their questions if they want to, and they explain how the person in the article feel. And then we swap. Partner B does the same thing. And then we close with a class discussion. What is one thing you learned today about someone else's perspective that helps you better understand your own? And then finally, what was it like to teach your partner instead of just reading together? something together. And I would say my students really love this method. They love to be the teacher. They like to be like, okay, I'm getting the information and I have to teach it to my partner. I can show you one more set of slides. All the slides look the same. It looks very similar. We follow the same routines every day. So that was lesson 1. Lesson 2 is why routines matter. The lesson starts out the same with the mini unit essential question, but then every day you have your own focus question. So in lesson 2, the focus question is how do routines help students and teachers feel more confident and successful in the classroom? The learning target is I can use a difference of experience strategy to learn how students and teachers experience classroom routines differently by reading, listening, and sharing ideas with their partners. All right, we start again with the mood meter like we did before, same reason, and then we do a this or that. It's the same concept as a would you rather, but instead of doing the same games every day, the same questions, I changed it up just to show them that there's variety. And sometimes when you're teaching, you might call the games might have different names or like slightly different practices, but they're basically the same. And it helps the students with routine and understanding routine and not overwhelming them with a different activity every day. But in this case, it's called this or that. You can do the standing or the sitting. You can move across the classroom or however you want to do it. So the same amount, pizza or taco, reading a book or watching a movie. And it's very interesting. What I learned the last time I taught this was my students did not do much reading over the summer, which is sad. But hey, it was fun and I did learn a little bit from them. Then we do a difference experience activity again. I explain what it is once more. New students are coming in, students need reminders, etc. There's no problem teaching them the same thing that you taught them yesterday, just so that they understand what the activity is, etc. Then this time for their practice activity, they will get to do a first day of school swap story. When I initially did it, I wanted them to talk about the first day of school that week, but students started talking about like their favorite first day of school experiences, no matter what class. So it's like, oh, I remember when I started in 4th grade, this is how I felt, and etc. And it was really good listening to them and hearing from them. So these activities are to ease students into the learning environments and getting them more comfortable with their classmates, but you can also learn a lot from your students from doing such activities. Then we did the different experience again, where one student is going to be reading overwhelmed at first, how routines help make 6th grade easier. And then another student, so the why routines matter teacher's perspective. So again, they're looking at it from 2 different perspectives, the teacher versus students. And I wanted to hone in like why routines matter, because sometimes we do things in the classroom and the kids get upset with us. Like, why are we doing this? Why does it matter? Why do we have to do it this way? And it's like, instead of answering the whys as they come, maybe at the beginning of the year, if you show them that, okay, there's a reason we do stuff like this in the classroom. It's to help you not feel overwhelmed, but it also helps the teacher not feel overwhelmed. And the teacher put a lot of effort into getting these routines together. On the days I teach this, if I finish early, I might start showing them how pointing out the different routines we've done so far. Like every lesson starts with us going over what the unit essential question is, and then the focus question and the learning target for the day. And that's a routine that we do every day. And as they should know by now, we always going to start the class with some kind of entry activity, and then we're going to go into the mini lesson, and then I'm going to give you a guided practice, and then I'm going to do independence. Maybe they're not always going to be collaborative work, but they're going to see something like that in those routines, and you can explain it to them on that second day especially. And then of course every class should have a close. Then they read their articles. As they read their articles, they answer their questions. Again, a routine that we have established. And then we share our experiences, another established routine at this point. And then you're going to end with a class discussion. And this is how lessons 1 through 4 look in this mini unit. Lesson 5 is slightly different because lesson 5, we're actually going to be doing a class agreement. So I'll go over it quickly what lesson 5 looks like. So read the focus question and learning targets. So the focus question is, how can a class contract help create a safe and respectful learning environment for everyone? And our learning target is, I can explain why a class contract matters and help create one that reflects the needs and goals of a classroom community. Then the mood meter, then we go into the entry activity. So we're going to look at, sorry, the mood meter would be the end of the entry activity actually. And then, to save time, the entry activity for the 5th day is just the mood meter. And yes, they have done a lot of fun activities and they might be expecting something fun, but it's okay. I'm going to explain to them why we're not doing a game to start this lesson, because we're going to be doing something even more engaging later. We're going to be making class contracts. So I explain what a class contract is, have a turn and talk, different questions. So those are the turn and talk questions on the bottom. Then they're going to do the difference experience again, this time why a class contract matters, a 6th grade point of view versus the teacher's point of view, like we did before. They're going to still do the reading, but the reason why the entry activity is less or is quicker is because they're going to be working collaboratively to create contracts, and they need a little bit more time on that. And I felt like students will understand not playing a game if they're going to be doing something, engaging with their classmates, and they feel like it is important. They're going to have a chance to create that contract, create those classroom norms and rules and expectations, etc. So step 1, we do a quick reflection. What are some things you need from your classmates to feel respected and ready to learn? What do you think teachers need in order to help students learn and grow? And this is very important. We're not just writing notes, we're being very, I had the word at the tip of my tongue. We're being very mindful. That wasn't the word I wanted to say, but I'm just going to go with that for now. What's the word? About what we're conscious. That wasn't what. We're being very mindful of what we're going to put in this contract. It's not just, oh, no eats in the classroom. Very mindful and reflective of what we need to feel respected. Then students going to have time to brainstorm. In this classroom, we agreed to. They can do it with their classmates. And then finally, they create a contract where everyone sits and they discuss and come up with something together. And this is the 5-day mini unit. Of course, I didn't show you every single thing. But if you want it, you can get it. It's available on TPT. I'll do a follow-up video for those who don't want to buy but want to see like the other days. It's the 4th. What the other days have to offer. Sorry, somebody just did a firecracker. Hopefully you don't hear it when I edit this. I also have these intentional blank pages for teachers that want to add to the slides and want to keep the same cute background. So those are blank for that reason. I know as my co-teachers like to add stuff to it in my ICT class for their students, so I keep it blank. Before I go, I wanted to show you the text. All right, so I know I don't know when this video is coming out, but it's currently the 4th of July today, and even though it's sunny and not even noon, they're setting off fireworks. I don't know if you can hear it, but I just wanted to let you know if you're hearing something. This is the text you get, and every text you get comes in English, Spanish, and French, especially for the first week of school. You might not be able to modify text for everyone's language needs. So I actually have it like this just so that on the first day, if I know someone speaks Spanish, I'll try and give them the Spanish just to gauge whether they can read it, and hopefully they can participate. So it comes in English, Spanish, and French. So let's just look at the English one. This is what you get. So lesson 1, there are 2 texts, as we said before, and these are the questions that come with it. So you can just print it back and forth, or however. And the questions are the same for no matter what text it is, but it's really set up there for them. And you can see the text aren't that long that students are going to feel overwhelmed. Again, it's the first week of school. You don't have to overwhelm them. But I just wanted to show you that. And everything in here comes with the answer key or the answer sheet, and it's in the text as well. All right, thank you for watching this video. Hopefully this inspired you and you have some kind of idea that about what you want to teach that first week of school. Again, I made this specifically for 6th grade, especially that first lesson where it speaks about the first day of a new school and feeling anxious. I do have mini units specifically for 7th and 8th grade, but if this is a mini unit you want, you could teach it throughout the entire middle school. It's not really, it is appropriate for middle school, but yeah. I'll link them below. So if you want 6th grade specifically, or you want the 7th or 8th grade one, I'll link it below. All right, thank you for watching this video. Hopefully this video inspired you. And if you're looking for more content, especially stuff to help you in your middle school social studies class, I invite you to subscribe. Thank you and adios.